Hi everyone, welcome to the next video in this series of 4 from Small Victories by Johanna Basford. We're using Staedtler pencils today and we have the second building in a jar to colour. So I'm going to have a little look and think about this picture. Now I am quite keen to do the roofs in a sort of gold for this particular one. I think it might look quite fun, quite nice. So I'm going to start with that. Now I know for some of you gold will be a little bit scary, but I hope that I can make it simple. I'm going to start with the dark brown. This is 76. It's the Van Dyke brown. Any dark brown will do. And we'll just put that on the edges like that. And that's how we begin. Now I haven't been able to work out whether this here is a cloud or a bush, but I think because it goes all the way down to the ground it's probably a bush. It'll be easier, I think, to colour it in a green and a sort of bushy type colour compared to a sort of cloud white. So that's part of the reason I have decided that it must be a bush. So I am doing the same thing on all of these roofs, so putting a little bit of this dark brown on the edge and then fading it a little bit, mainly just covering the lines that Johanna has drawn for us on the page. Now I'm looking at the bottom and thinking I'd quite like to do a bit there as well. Like that. I'm just going to go back through and make sure that I have just made it darker on that edge and a little bit less going into the centre. Now gold comes in all sorts of different shades depending on whether it's a sort of antique gold, a new gold, that sort of thing. I tend to do it, I'm just having a look at my colours actually. I tend, with Staedtlers, I often do it a bit more orangey, it looks a bit coppery, but with this new Staedtler set that I've got a better range of colour. So I'm going to use 7, the light brown, next. Normally if I was using the Ergosoft, which I was using the other day for my own project, I didn't have a lighter brown, so I had to go with a, what did I use? The burnt sienna, I think, and it's quite orangey. And so my picture ended up looking a little bit bronzy rather than gold. It was fine. It worked with what I was trying to achieve, but if you have got a smaller set of Staedtler pencils, whether that be the Ergosofts or whether it's these, then you may have to substitute and you may find that happens, but I don't think it matters. I think it's perfectly acceptable to have a bit more orangey. It can still look metallic and shiny, and warm, which is what I'm trying to achieve here. Now I have done those two. I'm going to move to an ochre. I'm going to use the golden ochre, which is the number 16. Here we go. It's very murky here today. I hope that you can see okay. I don't know if it makes a huge difference to the picture because of the lamp helping, which I just checked I have remembered to put on, and the camera sort of adjusts to the light conditions as well. But we've got a sort of warning of a weather warning today of wind and rain. I was going to have to go out, but the appointment I had was cancelled. I've rescheduled, hopefully for a drier day. It wasn't an urgent appointment, so it didn't matter too much, and it was rather a little bonus to actually be here when I wouldn't have been back by now. so I can crack on with this morning when I thought I might have to wait till this afternoon. You can see how we're starting, sorry for moving, to look quite shiny. I am going to use a yellow. I quite like the sand for my final yellow. It's slightly brownish. It's number 11. Just trying to find it. It's rather than being an orangey yellow. Well, it looks quite orangey in the camera. Maybe it is. But I find it just works nicely. Go over everything with this and it will warm it all up and help to sort of merge it, but leave a little bit of white to show it's reflecting light, and that is the key for it to continue to look metallic and shiny. There we go, so make sure it's that, leaving that little bit of white is the key. I find some people don't leave white, but for me, I find if I don't, it doesn't look quite right. But when other people do it and don't leave white, theirs looks fine. But I don't know, it's obviously just the way I do it. It just needs that little bit of white. There we go. Looks really quite bright to my eye, which is odd because it isn't. Now, let's have a look at the rest of the building. Now, I'm not sure up here whether we've got windows in here or whether these are just little supports. I think I will do it as a window, or else it would look very weak. I've decided that I would like the main building to be red. I think it would offset with that gold really well. I just feel that's just what I want to do. So I'm going to grab the, I think the 29, the carmine red, is probably the most mid red that we have. And I'm going to use that for our walls. Now I'm going to use that for this. I had been tempted to make them like wooden supports, but I'm going to colour them in red and then colour this as if it's a window with the same colour. That looks really weird. That's better. You colour it with the same colour that I'm going to colour the windows with. Now I'm going to put this down quite hard. I want it to be really vibrant. I am trying not to colour over the windows, but I'm succeeding anyway. And this is just plain colouring, layering it up. You know, I'm going over and over the same bit to get a nice deep red. There isn't much space for any sort of shading. I'm not really worrying about that. I'm just going to get the colour down. Yeah, as I say, it's quite a murky day today, but only husband is out. Obviously he has to go to work every day. Well, I say obviously, not everybody does. I'm just looking at the little pattern. I think I'm going to do this in red. Yeah, so he is out, but boys are home today. One is programming, ready for an assignment, got to write again. The other one was not really in the mood for working. He hadn't planned to work this morning because he thought we were going out. I'm grabbing my dark again, the 76 Van Dyke Brown. I'm going to do these in gold. They're just a bit in the bottom to start with, and I'm also just going to go over these edges. Yeah, so he's not, but he hasn't got very much work to do anyway, to be fair. I think if he did, he would be more motivated. Yes, he is good. He does reach all his deadlines and everything, so I'm not worried. Now this is number 7, again, our light brown, and I'm doing this quite hard not really fading it in such a small space. It's quite tricky. I feel like I'm wonky. And now our ochre, 16, the golden ochre. Now, I did mention yesterday that if you don't have the Staedtlers, I do have some comparison charts. I looked at what I had and put them in. That was a noise like thunder. This is number 11, the sand. I put them in the description. I'm not leaving any white on this one. And I don't think it's going to end up looking so good. But I don't know, I feel like if I leave white it'll look like I forgot. Right, let's think about the I've got this sort of plinth and I want to keep that warm. I'm just grabbing my red to do that big. It's messy. Actually, we need to do the windows too. I don't want to use the same yellow that I used for the gold, the sand. I'm going to use maybe number 1, which is just the regular yellow. I think I'll use that for the windows. Yes, anyway, I've got a list, sorry, Staedtler and Polychromos and Staedtler and Prismacolors, and they those charts are in the description, but if you need something else, let me know. I'll see what I can come up with. I did say that yesterday anyway. If someone's asked me and I've produced something else, it will be in the description as well. Gosh, it's quite bright. Now, our plinth, I want it in a brown because I think that would sort of work better with our warm colours. I don't think I want... I'm gonna use this actually, the 7, the light brown. And I'm thinking that because it's separate to having any other colour mixed in, it won't look too much like that, but it will match. Now, I've got a bit of a problem with this bottle in that these flowers at the bottom are growing over the edge. I think these must be on the outside, not inside the bottle, is the only way. So that's interesting, but I don't think it will make any difference, to be honest, the way we're colouring it in. I don't think that noise was thunder. Someone's upstairs. There we go. Now I think I might just grab the Van Dyke Brown 76, make it a little bit, I'm trying to keep it straight, get a little bit darker just on the edges here. A little bit of a layer there, nothing much. I don't want to make too much of a fuss of that. I don't think it's the best feature of the picture, the plinth, you know. We're going to spend a bit more time on the foliage. Now these look like bamboo leaves, but this bush doesn't. I think I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to start the bush with the very light, this is 50, it isn't the lightest green, but this is the willow green and it's quite light, and I'm going to start my bush with that, and I'm going to try and just put down a reasonably even layer of this green to start with. And then, because I want these leaves to be really quite dark, I'm going to put another colour over after, but I just want a sort of base of this green. You can see it's fairly pale, but not invisible. You know, we do have a paler green. I think there's a light, or the light olive is paler, the light ochre is paler, and the lime green is paler. But this is just okay for me. I'm just going to sharpen it a little bit to get around those leaves. There we go. better. It's a bit easier to get in and out of the details when it's a bit sharper. Now I picked my Staedtlers because I hadn't used them for a while, but I find them quite good because there's a few less to choose from, take up a little bit less room on the desk as well, which can be quite useful, particularly when I'm next door. My other desk isn't as big as this one. It's quite big, but I usually have a lot of other stuff on it, whereas I try and keep this one a bit tidier. My ideal room would have lots of desks, even more desk space, and lots of storage shelves with space for my things on, but you know, we don't have a huge house. We always made the decision, although our house is really big, I think, you could always go bigger, but we made the decision that we didn't want to have more space than we would use than was necessary, and if we had more space we would just use it up and fill it with stuff, and it would be better to sort of save the money really and pay off our mortgage and own our own house more quickly, which is what we've done. This is 52, which is the sap green, and I'm going to go over and I'm just going to do some swirly movements to try and make it look like a scrubby bush, which is how it's drawn. Yeah, so we just decided, yes, we could have got a bigger mortgage, we could have bought a bigger house. Also, we like the area that we live. There have been houses up for sale. Like when the flat next door came up, there was a temptation to buy it and knock through, but it was the middle floor which would have been a little strange, whereas it felt like it would have made more sense if it was the top floor or bottom floor, but I don't know. Anyway, there were other reasons too that we decided not to. A few houses came up for sale, but they weren't adjoining. Our adjoining house did come up for sale. I'm going to use number 5 for these leaves to start with, but yeah, we didn't. We talked about it. We decided not to go for it for a number of reasons. First, it hadn't been updated. So there's a lot of work that needed doing, and that is the case with most of the houses. You know, new windows, new doors, new kitchen, bathrooms, things like that. I mean, you probably wouldn't need a new kitchen because you wouldn't need a kitchen because we've got one, but you know, those sorts of things, it's all money that has to be put in. But it's, I think it was, I was looking at a video by Emily Illustrator, which you may or may not have seen, a reel actually on Instagram. I noticed there's a little bit there that I've missed. I'm just going to use my green to fill it in. And it showed her new craft room, and it looked bigger. From what I could tell from the video, it looked bigger than any room in my house. I was like, wow, I was jealous. But I have to remind myself of why we aren't in a huge house. Partly it makes cleaning a lot easier. Now we have these little leaves down here, and I think it might be nice to do them quite a different colour. I'm looking at what I have got, and I'm thinking maybe the olive green. This is 57. I think that might work quite nicely. I think I'm just going to try and make them a bit lighter on the tips. I didn't with the other leaves, I just kept them really plain. But it might not be necessary. They're quite small. I'm finding that actually you can't see that I've done much different with them. Now, I have never had a proper desire to move, if you know what I mean. You know, I've never felt, I've always, oh, that's my doorbell. Oh, right, was my neighbour popping over to ask me a favour. That was fine, we had a natter, which was nice. So let's just finish these. I think what I'm going to do is just make them a little bit darker at the bottom, just layer up a little bit extra colour, and then it might look a little bit better. Those look a lot neater than these. I'm actually going to just go over them all, I think. Like that. That's better. I'm happier with that. Now our sky. Have we got like a sky blue? Let me have a little look. We've got a pastel blue. We could do I think we should do like we did here, going sort of dark to light. We've only got a little bit. If you don't want to do it, you could just start with, just do the one colour. But I'm going to start with 37, which is the ultramarine blue or cyan, and just do a little bit of this right at the bottom here, or the top of our bush, I guess. Put a little bit down and then fade it. Now if you just want to do one colour, you could just do this one. It's quite dark. I'm actually going to take mine to quite a light colour. It's up to you how you do it. There we go. Just make sure I go right to the edge. This page wants to flip up. Let's put something on it. There we go. Now this one flips up instead. Now I have the 30. Now 30 is the pale blue. I'm going to go right over what I've done. Trying to actually remember to use a sort of circular movement. It stops you getting little lines. And it sort of gives a bit more of an even coverage, I think. There we go, and then this side as well. We're just repeating it. Oh, there's a train going by. Then we're going pale. Oops, if I can get hold of the pencil. 31 is the glacier blue. No, I think I'm not going to use that. I think I'm going to just use the pastel blue. Is that right? 302? Yeah, 30. No, sorry. I'm going to change I'm just consulting my swatch sheet. Sorry, this is 31. This is the glacier blue, and this is my last blue that I'm going to use. So I'm going to go back over this part. Now you notice it's quite blunt, and I think for a larger area that can keep it a little bit easier. It's a bit quicker. I am trying to fade it a bit as I get to the top of our lid, just a bit less, so it's a bit paler up at the top there. And then the same here. Now it's not particularly smooth, and I'm happy with that. I think it looks a bit like there might be the hint of cloud in our sky, something like that. It's a little bit easier than trying to make it really smooth as well. I don't think it's really that necessary. But you can smooth it out if you want. Just keep going over and over. There we go. Now we have the lid. What colour should we do the lid? Well, we did a slightly different colour yesterday, didn't we, to what we've used in the main picture, just to sort of contrast. I think we should think about doing the same thing for this one, but what? Maybe a darker red, and then that'll pick out our building. So I have got this red. This is our 299, which is the Carmine Dark. So it's a little bit darker than the red we used here. Now, I think our lid starts here. I think it's just this bit and this bit. I think these bits might be the jar, so I'm not going to colour those in yet. We'll use the grey like we did in the last one. So I'm going to just try to layer that up here and then start to fade it by doing less layers towards the middle. And then the same on this side. So more layers here and then less towards the middle. And then we will hopefully have a sort of lighter area in the centre. I'm just sitting back and seeing how that looks. I think that's okay. Now on the lid, Johanna has drawn us a darker area on this side. And it's not the lid, is it? It's this sort of handle, I guess. So we can go around there, but I quite like that on both sides. So I'm going to make it darker there, in fact a circle, and then less as we come towards the middle. It takes a bit of practice to do that, and I'm going to just fiddle with it a little bit more. There we go. Just going to make sure that red goes all the way to the top. Okay, now our grey. I'd quite like to use the same one as yesterday. I'm trying to work out which one it was. Was it the Dove Grey? Yes, I'm just looking on my list of colours. So I think we'll do them the same. So here's our Dove Grey, but we have a little different today because we have these leaves, but I think I'll just do a reasonably hard layer down there like I did yesterday, and then we'll fade it up the side like that, and then the same on this side like that, and then here a little bit there, and then fade it down, and the same on this side. I like this sort of bluey grey. I think it looks quite classy. And then like that. And then we want to fade towards the middle just like we did with the lid. I just reduce it, put less layers. See here I'm layering. I'm also pressing a little harder, not too hard. And then less towards the centre. Now we want to do that little bit of shadow. Did I use the black? Just looking at my list. I can't remember what I used for the shadow. Was it that one? Yes, it was the 890, the Cool Grey 13, that's right. We've gone very square. And put a little bit under the lid, as I did before. Make it a little bit darker on the edges compared with the middle, and the same on the more, like that. Right, now we need some white pen. What did we use yesterday? Sakura. I'm having a look at where to put the white. Yesterday we put it on our roof, didn't we, and with the lamp. I'm not sure I want it on the building really, looking at it. I think we'll put shine in a very similar way to this here. So here, but if you look at the bottle, it's a bit of a different shape. So I'm sort of following that shape on that side, like that. There we go. So some shine, and then on this side like that. I might do these dots, can you see? I don't know if they'll show up that much, but I feel like they're there for a purpose, and it's quite nice to add a little bit of white. And there we go. I'm so tempted to just do a few bits here. There we go. Now I think I'm happy. Oh, just here. There we go. Let's have a little look. Yeah, there we go. So that is that one finished. Yeah, I enjoyed. I hope that was good for you as well. Hoping that you have a really lovely day. Have some fun, and thank you so much for watching. Happy colouring!